We're back, people, and today we're breaking down film on Austin Jackson, Miami Dolphins right tackle. Probably going to be the starter this year, as he's been in the years past. One of the bigger issues with the team at the starting position. And I do want to say, shout out to the offensive line coach, because his technique for Jackson overall does look better. I would say overall he's looked better in the preseason than I've seen him in the past. But there are still some issues that he has, specifically in pass protection. I actually do not mind Austin Jackson as a run blocker. He gets to show off a little more of his athleticism. He's clearly more comfortable there in that area, moving forward, moving laterally like that. His technique gets a little bit off. His play strength isn't as good. But right here, reaching this 3-tech is very impressive. You can see the explosiveness out of his stance. He's moving really well here. He's gotten skinnier too, so he's quite athletic, and he moves around. He just got to understand things. And here he's able to cut this guy off and just completely use your positioning. Basically traps this guy to the ground too, which is a pretty rare move. Not in pass pro, but here does a good job setting up this run, helping create this lane with Robert Hunt here, working to this side. I think, if Jackson does end up being the starter, playing most of the season at right tackle, running to the right, I think will be pretty effective behind these two guys, and then with the help of Connor Williams. Would feel very comfortable with that. It just comes down to the pass pro issue. As I'll show later on, there's some improvements he made in pass pro, I think, with technique overall, but play strength, anchoring, he can get pushed back pretty often. But through these first two preseason games, I've at least liked the improvement that I've seen out of Austin Jackson, but still want to see a lot more. Here's a rep in pass pro where he ends up, he wins the rep, thinks he could do better, but it's nice to see him at least, widen this guy outside the edge. He does a better job when these guys try to win around the edge with speed and bend. He struggles more with the bull rush type moves. Getting out of his stance here, we'll watch the technique, look at this a little more closely from this angle. He's pretty comfortable here. He's bending at the waist too much. I would like to see him, be a little more lean. You can see everyone else, how they're more at an angle here. He's almost completely hunched over. You don't want to bend at your waist like this. And then he gets really wide with his hands and just leaves his chest open, which is a different technique to use to do late hands, but he does it far too often, and it can lead to him, getting pushed back in the pocket. It has less to do, I think, with the play strength issue than just technique overall, being off balance. But here he does a decent job of recovering his balance, and then it's still widening him out of the way. It's just still the technical issues in pass pro that come into play, just overall body lean. Not the best positioning right here, looking at the angle of his body, but does a decent job recovering. Just need to be a little more straight up and down with his back there, finishing his reps, but still ends up winning the rep overall with not the greatest technique, keeping his guy to the outside. When they try to win to the outside, I feel a little more comfortable there with Jackson. I think the best thing going for him is McDaniel does a really good job with his scheme, hiding pass protection, especially off his play actions. He doesn't really have his guys get those one-on-one matchups, so that's kind of the main reason I would say I'm not super worried about that position at this time, because they had the right tackle position was super weak last year, and they had a rotating door of players going through each week, and they were still one of the best offenses in the league. Another rep in pass pro. We're just going in order here for Jackson. Another solid job here, just widening him around, make this guy turn the edge. He looks a little more comfortable here, I think, on this snap. This is, the next snap. He looks a little more balanced, gets out of his base. He looks very explosive out of the snap. You can see him getting out of his stance there, kick step. He plays half the man. You don't want to get too wide and allow them to counter to the inside. Force him to go to the outside. A little late with the hands again, a little too wide. But he does a better job here winning with his hands late, creating that space. Now he's in a much better balanced position here. He's basically squared up with him, leading him all the way around the edge. This guy basically has no chance to win once he's in this position, and just a much better rep overall. Even though he won both of them, it's all about the technique when it comes to preseason, because you're not facing the top guys. You just want to have your reps, and even the reps you're winning, it's all about the process of the play, not really the results, I would say, when it comes to preseason. So better process here, which also leads to the same result. But that doesn't always lead to the same result when you're playing in those regular season games against much better opponents. Here to see Jackson out in space. I would say he looks like he's moving better overall. He's always been a decent athlete, but didn't look as comfortable when he had to move out in space from time to time. He just looks smoother here, more comfortable. He's still a very young player. He's only 23 or 24 years old, as going to his fourth season, but nice to see him out in space. Active with his eyes, finds number 48, who he wants to take, takes him on. Would like to see him stay on his feet. He falls off balance here, which is unfortunate. Balance has always been a bigger issue. You don't want to see your offensive lineman on the ground that often, but he still is able to accomplish his job. Just needs to work on those balance things for sure. Here's a rep where Jackson really struggles on that third down. At least it's a third and short, but he's late to see with his eyes, and he ends up, getting pushed all the way back into Tua. When he's caught off guard, not perfectly in his, set here, he's looking to the inside. He's, expecting something. He's trying to get help here. I'm not sure what he's seeing. I think, look, you can see initially Hunt's especially expecting 48 to push, push up field right here. He doesn't. So now Hunt can take this guy, and it's just a numbers thing. And he was going to leave the outside man to go in case 48 blitz because they were sliding to the left here, the rest of the line. So it is understandable why he's looking here. It just takes him a while to get back to this guy, and he's just really wide with his hands to the outside, and this guy just gets a bull rush, catches him off balance, and takes him all the way into Tua. I would say the only sort of positive thing you can take away from this is he understands at least where to look with his eyes initially, and the only reason he does get absolutely destroyed like this is just because he was late with his eyes, I think, in just off balance. More so to do than just with pure play strength, him just getting overpowered. He was just more caught off guard in this situation, but he does need to work on his anchor. When a guy goes for that speed to power, bull rush types moves, he just really struggles to anchor here. Like, look, it's actually, not as bad out of his stance. Things are pretty smooth. Wide hands, doesn't get the hands into the chest. He is not able to reset them. You want to reset when you're in this situation. He has that hand to the back, and now he's just caught off balance, and he's trying to anchor, but look, he literally gets pushed like 3 whole gallops right there, just trying to anchor and not able to do it. As an offensive tackle, you got to be able to anchor out on the edge. Thankfully, there was still enough time to get the ball out to Berrios, but those things will become an issue in the season eventually because there won't always be enough time. Receivers won't always be open. Things don't always go perfectly. So you got to, work on those technical issues and the strength issues as well. Here we got Jackson in the first game of the preseason versus the Falcons. Looked pretty comfortable in the limited snaps he put in this game, just run blocking. He gets out of his stance here, pretty explosive, trying to reach block this guy and now just driving his legs. Good hand placement, much better technique in the running game overall. He's much more balanced, under control. You got to have a nice balance base, and you can see the leg drive, and he can create more, push. I think when he can combine his athleticism with the strength to push downfield, he creates more of a push that way, and that's why I think he just struggles more when he ends up going backwards, and he's a little more out of balance, worse technique in the pass pro situations. Last play that I'm going to break down here for Austin Jackson. In the running game, again, I just have liked this improvement in the running game. I feel like he's always been a better run blocker, but I still wouldn't say it was anything to write home about. Just here, driving his guy down the line of scrimmage. He can either reach you, push you, displace you to the next level, or here, he does a good job just washing this guy down, because this guy is, a 3-tech here. Tough for a right tackle to reach the 3-tech completely. So just based on, this guy's leverage and positioning, instead of trying to, get in front of him, cut him off, get your back to him, he just keeps driving him down to give the running back a cutback lane eventually, and it does a good job giving Gaskin that lane to pick up a nice 6-yard gain. Pretty impressed overall with his run blocking improvements. Would like to see him continue this into the season, obviously, because, he's going against mostly second stringers, players like that. But just from looking at his technique, the process of those plays, I am much more comfortable with him run blocking this season. And then still worried about the pass pro. I think there was some slight improvements made, but still a long way to go for Austin Jackson. I don't know how much longer, how many more chances he's going to get, because I think they have a little more, offensive linemen that could play this year on the outside, take his position down the line. Injuries will happen too. You never know. So we'll see what happens to Jackson. I'm rooting for him to do it. I mean, he's still a young player in the league. Still has a chance. It's just I'm not overly optimistic about it, but I will be rooting for that to happen. So if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.